That's no excuse.
Well, just all this stuff's loose.
I hear you.
All right.
Remember that on performance reviews. Yeah. I do. Here, too.
All right. Do the best I can here.
That's all we ask for.
I'd like to call to order the Board of Selectmen meeting on the regular meeting on Thursday, January 22nd, 2026 at 6 p.m. We're in the Town Hall Auditorium, and this meeting is being live streamed. Please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance to get started. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So for roll call this evening, we have Selectman Meyer on my right, Selectman Schmidt on my left. We have Brian Wissinger, our CFO, Todd Rowland, our Public Works and Land Use Director, Jeff Catlett, our sanitarian, and members of the public. Do we have any public comment this evening?
I have some public comment.
Okay. Great.
But I see Ms. LaFleur is not here. I don't have a printer. I sent the documents to her. Did she print them out for you?
Yep.
Very good.
What was that?
Public comment.
Yep, come on.
Okay.
Got the microphone's out.
Do you need a copy of it, or do you have it the printed?
I got my phone, and I know basically what I said, and I'm not going to cover the documents, actually, because you guys have it. You can read it. Why should I waste your time with something you've already read, right?
You just state your name and your address in town, and
My name is Scott. I live in Somersville.
just plug in the
Yeah, it's on.
microphone's on. Okay, the green light. Have a seat.
My name is Scott. I live in Somersville.
What's your last name?
Landlords do a lot of retaliation these days. I'm going by Scott.
Okay.
Okay? I mean,
Let you get by with that. Have a seat, please.
Yeah.
And relax.
yeah, I know.
We're friendly.
I'm
friendly
not
group.
saying you're not. Okay? I know, but I know how landlords are.
Okay. Go ahead. As I said, I think Kim mentioned something about 5 minutes. We'd give you for time-wise.
Yeah. So I guess since only 5 minutes, I'll be back a couple of times. Those of us who rent in the town of Somers pay some of the highest tax rates that you don't know about. A lot of our landlords live out of town. The town taxes are built into our rents. They're quite padded. They're making profits on the taxes. The building condition of some of the buildings down in Somersville are horrible. I've gone through some of your tax records and everything else. So there's one building, there's only 40% of it is listed as in good condition. They are extremely highly priced. I've always been a working guy. I've always paid my taxes. We're the last guys in the world who get represented. Whether it's local government, state government, federal government, people are always looking to represent everybody except for the person who's paying the bills, which is us. Connecticut has gotten into a massive, massive housing crisis. And it is so simple to solve. You don't need to do developments. You don't need to rehabilitate mills and repurpose shopping malls and all that. You need to build houses. You need to build houses that are cheap and that are cheaper than what the realtors and the financial sector is selling them for. There is nothing in the law that says you can't. You have the right to be a competitor in the fair marketplace. Just as you have a public library, there are public stores, public bookstores. You have public schools, there are private schools. Housing developments, projects, whatever you want to call them, don't work. Put ownership into people's hands. It will increase your tax base. It will lower mine by having more of it. Wealth concentration has become a very bad thing in this country, and quite honestly, it's really shameful that I have to come up to elected leaders and tell them this. They should already know this. All right, so I'm done bitching about that. My next thing is, We don't see capes and ranches anymore being built like you see all over towns like Springfield, Enfield, Manchester, and all that. These designs are all been around for years. They're easy to build. I make things. I'm a tool maker. I see what goes on in housing. Housing is not complicated. It's framed wood and plywood and shingles. It doesn't need to be so expensive. It quite honestly should be cheaper than a car if you were making it right. A car has 30,000 moving parts. A house doesn't have any moving parts. I'll be glad to partner with you guys. I'm able to do CAD work. I would like to be, I do a lot of these things. I can help you with some designs. You take old designs that exist already, pre-approve them, come up with, I'll give you 10 or 15 designs. Let's get a committee together, start building some houses. You guys can sell these things for honestly and truly, even if you think of doing offshoring like Walmart does, and you don't even need to construct them here, just assemble them here. The government throughout the town, my estimates are that Connecticut needs 300,000 housing units. I'd like to see every town in Connecticut putting up 25 a year. There's the money to do it. You put money into the XL Center, Duncan Park, highways, dog parks, everything else. How about we hold out some money for houses?
Thank you. I just couldn't think of it.
We build some houses. This is a necessity. As a taxpayer, my social services costs keep going up and up and up and up. We have to give people more and more money for rental assistance, more and more money for heating assistance, more and more money for food assistance. Why aren't we talking about bringing the costs down? The people who cause all these problems are the least taxed people going. Nobody ever talks about raising their costs, only mine. And I don't...
Well, sir, I was on the Economic Development Commission in this town for 10 years.
Yes.
And we failed. We were not able to do anything that we set out to do. And a lot of the things that you're mentioning was to, one, get some businesses to come into the town to increase the grand list. Two, to build houses like you were talking about. I mean, I remember when the GIs came back from World War II, there was a movement across this country to build houses that were affordable for the GIs.
My grandmother lived in a neighborhood that was built by World War II.
Yeah.
She lived along the banks of a bayou in Alabama where I grew up. And the government came in when World War II broke out and said, we have to have housing for the shipyard workers that we need to run this shipyard. The entire neighborhood was built World War II housing. And it was all good, 2-3 bedroom houses. They sold and everything else. This is feasible, and I'm going to take issue with what you said in economic development, okay? Enfield's always looking to do economic development. You know what economic development's gotten in Enfield? A ton of franchise restaurants who are sucking money out of the town and not contributing anything.
Well, the thing is, let me just give you an example. Like a pharmacy in town. I think a pharmacy would be nice to have in town.
We used to have one.
And so these are the types of things. One last thing. We had a company in this town called Conval.
I know Conval, yeah.
You know Conval. They were selling stuff all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely successful.
Mm-hmm.
The people in this town did not want to allow them to expand across the street, to expand their business. Now they're in Enfield.
But
what I'm trying to explain to you, sir, is that I understand your frustration, but the problem is I've not seen anybody that's been able to overcome the attitude of a significant number of people in this town who don't want to build affordable housing, do not want to have businesses come into the town, and things like that.
And this is where I'm trying to go with this, okay?
Yes.
Expect as leadership. There is town-owned property around here. For example, we have an excess number of lacrosse fields and everything. Take one of those or something and tell the people, we're the government. We have an obligation, a constitutional obligation to all citizens of the town. We're putting up some affordable housing in this particular neighborhood, and you don't have a say in it. Because, I don't, again, as I was saying, I'm one of the highest taxpayers in this town, and you don't even know it. My son attends schools. I pay the full tax on the building that my landlord owns. My landlord's out of town. I want to see some fair rent commissions going. The state of Connecticut, Ned Lamont's ideas are non-ideas. They're designed to protect the wealthy. The thing is, we're going to put 2 landlords in and two tenants in on fair rent commissions. Let's do a little demographics on the population here. If this was a Senate race, people would be raising their arms up and saying, oh, well, we're not represented proportionately. Because we have 50% of the members on fair rent commissions being landlords. How does that work in a town like this? Are 50% of the people landlords? You're not. You have a majority of tenants over landlords. This is Wall Street uses a formula called what the market will bear. They've hit what they'll bear. I'm now down here taking legal action on it, or attempting to. I have some plans, and whether you guys like it or not, they have to move. Just as I was making the inference with World War II, something has to be done. And it has to be, whether you have the businesses or not, people still need places to live.
Well, I understand that.
And we've become, and this is where I'm saying where government gets things wrong, okay? We're going to do everything we can. We're going to let, yeah, I'm going on wrong, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm a blue-collar worker. As I said, I'm a tool maker. And starting in the 80s, very wealthy people who had more money than I'll ever have in my life in their pocket back then, were down in Washington, D.C., telling our politicians that I make too much money. We need to move our things to China. But we never discussed about how much money they make and what they cost us and what they're extracting out of the economy. And we need to sit there and start undercutting them, whether it's by doing it with town actions, and government officials start recognizing that they have a constitutional duty to all citizens, not preferred ones, not selected ones, but all citizens. That is what it's truly about. And if people don't like it, they're not. You don't own the town. You own your property line. No more opposing this. There's a point. It's like sitting there. Saying, well, you can't drive down the road because I don't like the color of your car or whatever else. You have to start drawing lines with the wealthy people who block this stuff. And you need to tell them, sorry, no.
Well, I hate to break the news to you, sir. It's not just wealthy people. I remember very distinctly when they were trying to get a CVS in here, in this town, after the pharmacy closed that the lady in town ran. And the people it wasn't wealthy people. It was just the average people in this town celebrated when they defeated that. They thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing you have to understand. There's an attitude in this town that's hard to overcome.
I can beat down bad attitudes. My role over the years has progressed. I'm now in a supervisory role.
Yeah.
I deal with people with bad attitudes all the time. Well, I can handle them.
If you are able to change the philosophy of the people in this town, I'll give you a hand.
I'm not worried about what they think or not. I'm worried about what becomes a constitutional right. I subsidize housing. Therefore, since I subsidize it and I spend on it, it's a right for everybody to have it. I used to not think that way so much, but my thinking on it has changed a lot. I pay for it. I should be able to have a say in it.
I hear you.
Well, thank you very much for coming and addressing us tonight.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you for the
understand.
written comments.
And I don't like sounding so angry. I have a lot more to say, but I do want to get some meetings going with you guys. I do want to start submitting designs with people, and I want an action committee taken. And I would like to, next meeting here, that we come here and say you're going to take action on this, and you're going to start leading the way out of our problems. You were mentioning Walmart, in the savings, the worst thing, the best thing you guys.
I didn't mention Walmart.
Well, I was thinking about down in East West.
Sorry, I think
we got to go.
Yeah, we have to.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments,
I'm looking
Scott.
for some action on things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Presentation by First Selectman. I'd just like to mention that, of course, we have some cold weather predicted for this weekend and some fairly significant snow that could be coming in on Sunday and Monday, somewhere in the range of 12 to 18 inches. As far as the cold weather goes, we do have warming opportunities, but we don't call them into need until we have 10% or more of the outages in town with regards to homes. So I recommend, number one, people try to stay inside this weekend. And if you lose your power, you might consider going to a neighbor's house or going to a relative's house or a friend's house. It would be preferred action, unless we have a major outage in town, like we're saying 10% or more. The town, it does not provide assistance because it costs money. We have to bring people in. It's just not worth the effort. So, thank you very much. Consent agenda, boards and commissions. First of all, we have the appointment of Michelle Michaels to the Water Pollution Control Authority. Do we have as an alternate member with a term expiring 12/22/26. We need a motion for that.
Yeah. I'm happy to make a motion to appoint Michelle Michaels as an alternate member of the Water Pollution Control Authority.
Second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in support say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you. Opportunity to add urgent agenda items. I think we have any of those.
I have none.
No. Finance, transfers and appropriations. We have none. CFO's finance report.
Boy, what a week. I wish I had 10 extra minutes that I could have put a report together. W-2s and 1099s have been completed, submitted to the federal government. Documents have been put in the mail, given to employees. It seemed like this week was just full of busy and not a lot of time to think about the things that are going on. We've got quite a bit going on with the budget. More presentations tonight. Board of Finance for next Tuesday has been canceled and moved to the Tuesday afterwards. We did have a couple of presentations that were going to happen at that meeting, so they've
The meeting's been postponed until what
till
day?
February 3rd.
February 3rd, Board of
Yep.
Finance.
So the people that were planning to present next Tuesday have already been notified that the meeting's being moved,
Including David Penny.
including David Penny. So we'll
Okay.
know more then.
Isn't it? Because next week we were supposed to have the police. That's what it says on the schedule here.
Yep.
Is that still going to happen?
Oh, yeah, and
Yes.
it doesn't affect Board of Selectmen at
That's
all.
the
Okay,
yeah.
so, yeah, because tonight's the town hall. Right?
We're not changing that.
Okay. And then,
Because we didn't have the fire department last week,
Yeah,
we have
because
a
we didn't have
scheduled
it,
time when we're going to try to have them come in.
I was looking at February 19th to add them
Okay.
onto the agenda with the library.
yeah, okay. Sounds good.
The only other option would be February 12th. I don't know how long.
Yes, February 19th works for me.
All right.
I think 19th is a good idea.
All right. So we'll pencil them in.
Okay. You can notify the proper officials when
Will do.
appropriate. Yeah.
Will do.
Okay, thank you for your report. Presentations of scheduled payments.
Yep, right here. I'd be happy to make a motion to authorize the payments in the amount of $312,668.02.
Second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in support say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you. Sign that. Updates from boards and commissions, I don't think we have any of those. Pending business, we have none. New business, discuss and possible action regarding requirements of land use reorganization.
Good evening. Todd Rowland, Director of Land Use and Public Works, and Jeff Catlett, our Health Director and Sanitarian. As you have the letter I sent, I'm recommending promoting Jeffrey to the position of Director of Health and Land Use,
Yeah, I saw that.
which would allow me to step back from being Land Use Director and focus back on Public Works. When I became the Director of Land Use back in 23, the intention was really to be temporary, to kind of stabilize the department, and it had been going through a state of flux since Jeff Ward had left. So since that time, I think we've got Jeff. Jeff came to work with us in August of last year, and he's been great to work with and great an asset for the town. We now have a full-time building official. We're not relying on other towns for that. So the department has really stabilized and is in a good place right now. So this is a good time for me to step back so I can focus more on the Public Works Director and all of the ad hoc committees that I'm part of. Jeff brings exceptional qualifications, and he's a proven leader. He was a health director in Manchester and had a staff of 13, annual budget of $1.3 million. Since arriving, Jeff has significantly increased the health department, operations, and community engagement. He's enhanced business support and inspections and ensuring compliance and public safety. He's expanded outreach initiatives such as he just ran a class for Serve Safe for local businesses and municipal departments and food handling. And you have, how many people, kids?
We have 26.
26 folks attend that. He continues to support local contractors and inspecting septic systems. He's actively engaged with the summer school system in health education initiatives. Jeff is very well liked by staff and community members and is very easygoing. I think Jeff will excel as Director of Land Use and Health and serve the citizens of town quite well. In my request to make Jeff the Land Use Director, it includes a request in raise in salary from what he would be making of $98,000 to $112,000. I propose using the $19,000 stipend that I'm getting to be Director of Land Use and taking that and giving him that raise, and that'll leave a balance of $5,054 in that stipend that could go back to the general fund or use for other purposes. So it's a net win for the town in that regard financially.
Sounds very good to me, Tom.
Jeff's 6-month probationary period's up at the end of February, so I'm proposing that Jeff becomes the Director of Land Use and Health effective February 2nd next month.
Sounds good.
February 22nd, right?
February 22nd, excuse me.
Oh, the 22nd? Okay.
Yeah,
So he'll start on the 22nd?
well, it depends on you.
We need a motion for this. Yeah, I think I've had a great relationship with Jeff. I think he's done a solid job. He's definitely got the credentials to be the director, and I'm looking forward to working with him as such.
No, I would agree. I think Jeff's brought great leadership. I think you have the experience. I think you've kind of bring that outside perspective, but I think you also understand the small community. And, I think, certainly Director Rowland's done a good job getting it into a stable place, and I look forward to kind of taking it to another level to serve the town for the next 10 years or so, and working together on that. So.
Yeah, I'm remiss in not mentioning that Director Rowland has done a great job of
Thank you.
getting the department in shape. It's been a challenging department, and we still got challenges to address in the future, but we're definitely in better shape than we used to be. One question I have relates to the lack of an engineer in the department. So what are the plans for how we would handle?
Well, all such things come down to dollars and cents, and I would love to have a full-time engineer or even a part-time engineer. That's a conversation probably not for the coming year because it's going to be a tough year that we might look at. In the future, we do rely on consultants, many different consultants. We're still using the services of Jeff Board, who was our land use director and PE engineer, who retired some years ago. He still works for us occasionally part-time for smaller projects. For larger projects, we use all kinds of different engineers, environmental engineers, civil engineers, depending on the project itself. I do miss the interplay I had with Jeff because it was nice having him here and we could bounce ideas off each other. You miss that synergy of having somebody in the office, which we don't have now. But hiring a PE full-time is probably at least $125,000, if not more. That's a big nut to take on.
And I don't think there's enough work.
Yeah, I don't know that it's
full-time.
Maybe we could do a part-time.
$7,500 a year.
I think the consultant approach,
We're
much
getting
more
there.
forward.
sufficient. And of course, the other factor would be planning.
Planning is probably more in line with what we have to look at, what Jeff can look at down the road in hiring and maybe a part-time planner.
Like a
That's
consultant,
been
possibly.
a challenge for us. Now, we use consultants, and we've made some changes there recently, and we're still working on that. And that's going well. Again, if you don't have the staff person coming in, there is some loss of synergy in the day-to-day interaction. When you hire consultants, it tends to be project-based versus an overall view and flow. So there is there's definitely some growth there for the department to look at moving forward, and that might be some recommendation on doing some changes with staffing and how the department's structured, and maybe bring in a part-time planner or a shared planner or something along those lines. I think that would be highly beneficial to the town. We do miss not having our own planner.
Great.
We do have great consultants, but it's different.
Yeah, I think we're going to be having a lot of conversation in the next year. What's land use look like?
Yeah.
What do we need? What do we have?
What can we afford?
Yes.
Well, this is what this gentleman was bringing up, is the...
Part of housing is certainly a big part of it. Certainly nowadays, there's a big push from the state.
Yeah.
It's a complicated and difficult question.
But it's the, when you talk to people in this town about building an apartment, it's like you're swearing.
Some people. A lot of
Yeah.
people recognize, like Woodcrest has been successful, and they have a waiting list.
Oh, we know that. My wife's on that committee. But the point is, what I'm saying, Todd, is I just have not seen anybody that's been willing, and I can talk to people that lived in this town a lot longer than I have, and I've lived here since 1993, but I've had people who lived here for 60 or 70 years, and they've been frustrated as heck because they've owned land in town, and they've been trying to develop that land, whether it's for apartments or for businesses, and they have gone nowhere. And it's really been rather frustrating for these people.
And it is, but there's a lot of moving parts. There's not in my backyard the people that don't want anything. There's land's expensive. There's also the lack of sewer for most of the town, so you're on septic. That creates a whole different challenge.
We also have a planned development district that the town did approve.
Correct.
7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
But I don't think, unfortunately, we're going to solve this tonight. I mean,
No.
I think it's
That's a more
complicated
intractable
issue
problem.
for the federal and state.
It is. And the state's made some moves that make it a little bit easier. The town has made some moves in the housing and the plan of conservation and development's coming back. I mean, the new planning and zoning commission that's now combined, that's one of their top priorities, is to take a look at the housing and keep that moving forward. It's a difficult problem to solve because there's so many moving parts, and
it's a free market, so I mean, we got to keep that in mind as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, I'd make a motion that we appoint Jeff Catlett to the position of Director of Health and Land Use with an annual salary of $112,000 prorated, effective February 22nd, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in support say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, congratulations.
Director, should I say director?
Thank you, sir.
That's going to be on February 22nd. Thank you. Great. Okay. Next, we have the approval of the Eagle environmental proposal for the HVAC elementary school project.
Is that the one they had before?
Do you want to do
This is-
do it?
I figured I'd let you handle
This
that
is
one.
the hazardous
More your
waste,
field than mine.
Okay, so I can handle it if you like.
Yeah, please do that.
So this is part of the ongoing school construction project.
Right.
So the building committee's been meeting twice a month and moving forward with the project. One of the next steps before we can go to bid and begin construction is to have an environmental study done. Our consultant, STV, has solicited proposals. They've recommended, the building committee has also recommended and voted to approve forwarding to the Board of Selectmen a proposal from Eagle Environmental to conduct that environmental study at the elementary school to move forward the project. The total amount is
$4,340.
$4,340.
Yep.
4,000 what?
$340.
4,340.
So I would make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the proposal from Eagle Environmental for the HVAC project at Summers Elementary School and authorize the first selectman to sign the contract.
Second.
Hearing any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you.
You'll take care of it, Brian, or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, with
got
the
it.
first selectman.
Great, thank you, Bill. Budget presentation in regards to the town hall budgets.
So I gave you guys all printouts for tonight.
Yeah. Right here on the table. Thank you, John. That's all I need. Brian.
So you can go through them kind of quickly. I think Dave Marty's going to come down for town clerk, but
I think he is. First of all, I guess that we could just lay aside the anything having to do with the
Yeah,
veterans.
the line items involving the veterans, they're on the schedule for a couple of weeks from now.
Right.
So
That'll
they
be
can touch
taken
on
care of
those.
separately.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll touch on those when they're here. Otherwise, biggest things, removing the part-time HR position that we had in place. We've been through two. I would say both were unsuccessful. It seems like a position that at part-time is just almost impossible to fill.
So do you recommend a full-time position?
I don't, because I don't think there's enough work for a full-time position. I don't think that it's at that point you're talking cost plus benefits, you're talking $125,000. And I don't see the value. I don't see the necessary work.
And we've handled this for the last 10 years or so with Kim LaFleur.
At least,
Working on it.
and while she's not an HR expert, we rely on our labor attorney for a lot of things as well. We're not spending $125,000 on a labor attorney, where we would be on a full-time HR person. So I can't see the value in hiring a
So
full-time.
the bottom line is that we need assistance from others. We can get that assistance.
Right. I mean, we have professionals we can reach out to if we need assistance.
Well, let's hope we use that, Brian. You know what I'm saying? Because I think there's been many times when it's come to the hiring of people in this town, and I don't know if we've actually been looked at carefully. You know what I'm saying? I think we really need to make sure we've done better lately. You know what I'm saying? But I think we just have to make sure that we're doing this in a very thorough fashion. I would hope that you guys, all the other staff members would pick up the slack and fill in, okay?
Yep.
That's what we've been doing.
Our liability and property insurance, bonds and things of that nature, slight increase there. Really just driven by the cost of insurance. Kerma has us locked into a 3% increase. And then we're anticipating, an increase with cybersecurity insurance.
On the health coverage, I was surprised it didn't go up more than it did.
On which one?
Health,
It was pretty considerable, wasn't it?
8%. But still,
Where are we? Employee benefits.
I've heard figures much higher than that.
Yeah. So yes. So what the overall increase that I used for that was a 10% increase. We had a meeting on was that Tuesday morning? Tuesday morning, I believe it was. State of Connecticut put out their guidance again. There was about a 30-minute web. We are looking at between a 10 and 12% increase overall. Really, the 8.3 is based on multiple factors. It's the number of people in various positions. So we had a couple of family plans that have shifted downwards to employee plus one because the children have aged out of it. And we also have, I factored into that a 1.5% increase on the employee cost side as well. So going from 11% to 12.5%. So that's where you're seeing the net. So yes, 8.3% is the net. Overall, it is. I budgeted it at 10%.
Good explanation. Thank you.
On the finance side, overall down 4.5%. That's really, we made some changes on the credit card fees. Previously, we were processing cards in-house for tax payments. We weren't charging any kind of fee for that. Collectively, it was costing the town about $30,000 a year. Just in that one office, not including the other areas of town that we have credit cards. We eliminated that machine and just went with one single processor using the online invoice cloud model. That model, the fee is charged to the customer, but it's the same model whether they were sitting at home versus being in the office. The reason being is, people are coming in paying $9,000, $10,000 tax bills to get their travel points, and it's a burden on the rest of the tax base paying for those people to have their travel points. So by eliminating that and changing the model saves the residents money overall on that. And it puts, if you still want your travel points, you can still get them. It's just going to cost you 3% in the where you,
Sounds fair to me.
yeah.
So this replaces what was in the packet?
Yes.
Okay.
And I also reduced the consulting number. And there we had the first year of transition with Mike retiring. We anticipated a lot of consulting. It hasn't necessarily panned out the way we did, so I did chop that almost in half. And honestly, I mean, if we wanted to reduce that even lower, I wouldn't argue the point. I would put that on you guys.
Probably a good placeholder.
You've been able
Yeah.
to fill in and do the job, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing the job for 12 years.
Right. Exactly.
No, it's good that we haven't needed
Right.
consultants.
We haven't really needed it.
We had the opportunity, but we didn't need.
Well, that's why it's good that you were able to do it. Thank you.
I don't really, like I said, I haven't focused on the town clerk budget, so I mean, their increase there is in the salaries, and a lot of that is just based on the mid-year increases that happened between the mid-year increases and the July 1 increases. Tax collector, same thing. It's it's just those built-in increases that were there from the prior year. Everything else is pretty static on theirs.
I don't see much controversy here.
Yep. On the assessor side, we combined a line item. We had two different line items for basically the same thing. Before we had QDS in one line item and vision in another line item. We combined those into just one. So you see a large decrease in one line item and a huge increase in the other. That's what that is.
Yeah, contractual service.
And why was that again?
We had a line item for one invoice, and we didn't see any benefit in just charging it to one line. So we combined line items was all we did.
It's just a accounting move. There's no impact.
Yeah, there's no budgetary impact on that. The increase beyond the 30,000 on the contractual services is just the increased cost of those software suppliers. And again, the rest of the increase in that line and that grouping is based on salary increases. For IT, pretty static for the most part. We do anticipate having to replace a few machines, a few more machines than we had planned to replace this year. A lot of them have started to reach that 3 and 4 year point. We're starting to have some failures, but
So
not.
$9,500 and the increase there?
Yeah, I mean they're $1,500 a machine.
I know, right? I mean, we should be getting 5 years out of them.
We're getting about 4, and so
Why is that? I mean, I'm just.
I mean, it's a 3-year warranty, and
It's Dell gives you a 2-year warranty.
it's interesting.
Yeah, and so
Why are we buying Dell? Why don't we buy HPs then?
Dell is just what we've always been using. Personally, I think they're a higher quality machine than HP, but I'm open to whatever.
I get 5 years out of HPs. So.
I mean, the one I've got is at 4 years. It still runs great. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't replace it. But
Yeah,
but we've had some that have, like the battery just randomly failed on them. We know we have to replace them. And so when you start reaching that 4-year mark, you start to worry about those kinds of things that, if something's going to fail on the machine and you need to replace it.
But we don't just replace them because 4 years is up.
Right, we're not going to replace it just because it's 4 years old. If it still runs great,
Right.
keep
Okay.
chugging along. But
That's all.
the older they get, the more they are. A lot of the machines have the i7 processors in them, which we should be getting 5 to 7 years out of those. The cheaper ones that we bought were the i5s are the ones that we've had issues with. So those are the ones that we're weighing out the
So
the
with
options.
technology, Brian,
Yep.
Suzer, so
Yep.
I see it's a $90,000 line item now. When's that contract up?
Well, it's current. Yeah, their fee is about 75,000. Their contract is up. I believe it's 27. I believe is when that the last renewal. I believe ran through 27.
But I mean, that's gone up significantly since we started with them.
It's gone up about in 4 years. It's gone up about 10% from the original rate. A lot of what our increases are a lot more office licenses. We spend about $20,000 a year. Where when we started with Suzer, our office licenses were about $13,000 a year. So those have increased. I hate to say drastically, but we've definitely purchased a lot more licenses.
It's a different model. It's a SaaS model now as opposed to like an on-premises,
Right.
one time buy a license and you're done.
Right.
Now it's a per user, per month subscription.
Yep.
Okay.
But that also covers all of our cloud hosting, cloud backups. We have 2 off-site backups. So if something fails, you can still access data. Unfortunately, Microsoft is having outages intermittently right now, and so people are having problems accessing data, and that's the downside to having a cloud-based SaaS model versus an on-site. The
It
downside.
went down quite a bit when it was on site too.
It did. It went down quite a bit when it was on site.
And
as
we
well.
were also nervous we were going to lose everything. So I
Right.
think we're in a lot better shape.
Yeah, no. Security-wise, we're in a lot better shape.
Okay.
On employee benefits, we touched on that. Health insurance, the 8.3% is a net increase. 5% increase on the pension side. That's just, those are the ADEC models that were developed by the actuaries. Those are their numbers plugged in.
Did you mention the town pension, town fire?
Yep, that's right. So yeah, those are the 2. It's the actuarially determined employer contribution for the town plan and for the volunteer fire plan, as well as the firefighter union members that are not part of the town pension plan still get the 6% employee or the town contribution. So we had to factor that number in.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Workers' comp, there's no change to workers' comp. That rate is locked in. This is the last year of that rate being locked in.
So does that mean next year we can expect to see that go up?
Probably about 2.5–3%, yeah. But this has been the 3rd year. We had a 3-year rate lock on that, and so this is the 3rd year of that.
Dave Marty's entered the room, our town clerk.
Dave, you want to do town clerk? I skipped town clerk because
Oh.
I don't know anything about your budget.
He doesn't take your jacket off for this.
Put your Kevlar on.
It's not Saturday yet. Saturday's going to be cold.
Yeah.
Today's warm.
Is there anything you want to say about the budget for your
Basically, it's just in line with what we've done each year. There's not a lot of deviation from year to year with the town clerk's budget. The salaries went up to the adjustments that were done from the surveys that were done to get kind of the salaries back in line with what the market is. So that's probably the highest one at 8%. And putting in more for supplies, seems like the supplies keep going up when you stuff you get from Staples or from Amazon. And other than that, everything's pretty much flat. The one thing I was questioning was on the elections with the no excuse absentee ballots. I thought that we might have more expenses in that area, but the early voting actually has worked against that, so it's actually been less. So we haven't been spending that election dollars that are in there. But who knows what the future holds? So, but there's a potential for that to drop going forward if the early voting continues, because with the no excuse absentee, I thought there'd be a big push for absentee ballots. But people are taking advantage of the early voting instead. So I'm not going to read through the numbers. You have them right in front of you, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Do you have any questions at all?
So as far as your comment on the elections, does that mean that we could save some money there, possibly, or?
It's not a big amount that's allocated.
I'm just
a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's being more than spent on the early voting. The early voting's extremely expensive.
Right.
Yeah, right. They have a lot of staff they have to bring in.
In reality, what they should have done was have early voting be handled by a no excuse absentee, where everybody could vote whenever they want to with no excuse absentee, and then have election day for everything else.
That's what most
It would have been really, it would have cost so much less for the towns.
Yep.
And it'd be so much, there'd be a lot more accountability too, because it's less complicated.
But when they come in, we'll discuss that.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right. Well,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Dave. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, Brian, that wraps it up.
That's
Yeah, I
it.
don't have any other questions.
Yeah, unless you got
Questions about anything?
No, nice job.
That was good.
I think it's a good budget
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you very
I
much.
mean, we may be back at the table talking about it again in the future, but I think
Yep.
for today, that's,
We got a few weeks.
Makes sense.
So next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of our meeting on January 8th, which was a regular meeting of the board.
Yeah, happy to make a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting on January 8th, 2026.
second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in support say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you. And we have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We're adjourned. 6:45.
We have our public hearing at 7.
7 o'clock.